Good morning, church family. This is Dave with your crosstalk for today. Our message today will be a little different. I've always enjoyed reading in the book of Proverbs, and two main reasons stand out. First is the Bible tells us that Solomon is the wisest man that ever lived. So when we read in Proverbs, we're reading his words and we're getting some pretty reliable information. Second, he wrote this book as a collection of advice to his son. In other words, he might say, "Son, if you do not pay attention to anything else I've taught you, please listen to this." After hearing this message, I'd encourage you, in the first free moments you have today, to look up Proverbs 23 and read the whole thing so you have some context for our points. Solomon includes some great words for our living today. When we're young, we're told to mind our manners. When we launch into a career, we're told, mind your business. Well, here is some wise counsel that applies to all of our living. Mind your mind. When you lose out in that arena, you lose out everywhere else. In Proverbs 23, Solomon outlines 6 principles to live by when it comes to thinking. The first wisdom that Solomon has for us is, your thoughts determine your character. Solomon writes here and he says, as he thinks in his heart, so is a man. Before you tell a lie, you first entertain it, and you think like a liar. Before you commit adultery, you first entertain a fantasy. So if you don't want to do something, stop dwelling on it. Secondly, from verse 9, Solomon says, do not speak in the hearing of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of your words. Don't waste your thoughts on people who don't value them. Thirdly, Solomon writes in verse 12, apply your heart to instruction and your ears to words of knowledge. The first person you must learn to lead is yourself. As long as you keep growing, you can keep leading. Solomon says in verse 17, do not let your heart envy sinners. Be sure your role models are people of principle and integrity. Surrounding yourself with people of high character is a great way to live a godly life. Our fifth point this morning comes from verses 17 and 18, where Solomon writes to his son, and he says, be zealous for the fear of the Lord all the day, for surely there is a hereafter, and your hope will not be cut off. Remain confident that the vision God has for you will come to pass. Certainly we know in the truths of God's word that he's already made that possible through Jesus. Big picture, we know our eternity is secure. And finally, from verse 19, remain steadfast in what you know is right. Don't get sidetracked. Solomon says, hear and be wise and guide your heart in the right way. God bless you this week as you take some moments to look through Proverbs 23, filling your heart and mind with the real truth of God's word.